Hopefully my ass cheek.
That's what I thought he was going to clap. And he was like, please, can I do
you
the
reckon
clap?
this glass will hold me?
I'm not to say that you're heavy, but I think probably not.
No, we won't.
Just because
we won't ruin your gorgeous set. We won't do that.
Welcome to another episode of Girls Know Nothing. If you didn't already recognise by the voice, I have my first male guest in the studio. I feel like people will probably know who you are if they're watching the episode, but feel free to give yourself an introduction.
Hello, guys. The first man on the episode. It's a pleasure. I'm Jack. I'm a TikToker. I chat shit online, basically. Great job. Love it.
It is a good job, and it's hard, I think. TikTok's a rough place.
It can be a very rough place. It can be. But do you know what? It's character building.
Everyone says that.
Do they? It's a defense mechanism.
Yeah, literally. It's character building. I will get over this one day. This is what my therapist is telling me, so I have to believe it. If you didn't know either me or Jack, I mean, I don't know why you're here, but you know.
I mean, thank you for stumbling upon us here.
We are from neighbouring towns.
We are rivaling.
Rival towns, rival schools.
Yeah. I think everyone's going to be really pressed about it, actually.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I think we may get some shit from home.
Well, it's also Tory HQ of the country.
Oh, it is.
So,
which I hate that stigma that we have, is that everyone thinks we're Tories.
But you also in a horse riding club.
Yes, I know. I don't help myself. I don't help myself at all.
I played football like a real lad.
I played hockey. I'm so bad.
Oh my God. Why didn't you just play lacrosse instead?
Oh my God. No, I'm not going to even dig myself in a bigger hole, actually.
I'm interested to know because I think my cousins actually went to your school.
Okay.
So I hear horror stories all the time, but obviously as somebody who came out, who is gay and came out as gay during your time in school, I can imagine that was really tough. So like, I want to know from you about what your coming out story is and what it was like for you.
Yeah, it definitely in school was like a massive, like, you know, you're filled with loads of other kids your age that just haven't, like, what's the word? They're naive to the fact of what they're saying can actually hurt people. They think it's funny. I mean, growing up, I was always very flamboyant and like I used to dress up as like princesses and play with Barbies and wear high heels. So I think it was very obvious from the get-go.
Yeah.
I remember my mum actually asking me if I was transgender when I was about like 7. Like my mum asked, I remember it clearly. And I remember actually thinking about it. She didn't say the words transgender actually, because I don't think I would have known what that was at the time. But she was like, so do you think you're a girl? Because I literally used to just dress up as a girl and play with girl things all the time. And that's when I was like, thought in my head, I was like, she was like, do you want to be a girl? And I was like, no, actually, I want to be a boy. And then literally after that day, I stopped playing with girl things, like out of my choice. And then like a couple of like months later, I remember as well, at 7, I was at 7 years
started young.
Yeah, I started realising that I liked men like quite young. And I was like waiting for my brother outside his friend's house in the car because mum was picking him up. And I was like looking at this magazine and it had like Take That in it. God knows what it was. Don't know what it was. I think it was like towards Christmas and they were doing some sort of like Christmas.
Okay.
Now 27 or something. I don't know what it was. Anyway, and I saw Gary Barlow and I just fancied him a bit. And my mum was like, they're hot, aren't they? And I was like, yeah. They are.
Out of all the people that I would have thought, you know, when you realised you started to like boys.
It's embarrassing.
Gary Barlow.
It's Gary. I do like a bit of a, you know, silver fox though. A bit of a daddy.
Yeah, to be fair, because I have a weird obsession. Who's that guy that plays James Bond? Daniel Craig.
Oh yeah. Oh my, do you?
Oh yeah.
Do you find him weirdly attractive?
No, just attractive.
Oh, okay.
Is that weird?
For me, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't.
I mean, you just said Gary Barlow.
I'm not ashamed. We don't do that here. This is a safe place.
It's a safe space.
Let it all out.
So it's weird because, you know, when you always hear like, this is the serious side of it now, but when you go onto TikTok and social media and in the internet, people are always saying that, you know, when it comes to sex education for young people, there is no LGBTQ element to that education. And people are always saying that you don't want to talk about that because it will make kids gay.
Oh my God, I hate it when people say that. It's like that new Buzz Lightyear film that's just come out. And Buzz, like there was a lesbian in it.
God forbid.
And they had like a child and stuff. And everyone was like, why are we pushing this on children? Like, why are we putting like lesbianism on children? And like people who are gay, like, it's like, they should just be children and stuff. When like, I think they're completely wrong. I think if I was like a younger person, like when I was younger, I wish I had someone like me, let's say, who's very openly gay online, you know, how like, and other people, you know, like you've got James Charles, you've got like Jeffree Star, you've got like all these majorly openly gay people, which I think help a lot of young gay people. And I think things like having Buzz Lightyear and making lesbians normal, and like women and women having kids and men having kids normal. I think it's like really important for like younger kids to see that, because it's breaking that like really old stereotype of like it's not normal and like you need to be straight, and straight's the normal way to be.
It's weird that they talk about why we shouldn't push LGBTQ stuff onto children, when actually I feel like we push heteronormative values onto children anyway. And, you know, you briefly shared, well, I think you've even put it on TikTok that you have had asexual experience with a woman.
Oh, yes.
Do you feel like that was as a result of having hetero norms pushed onto you?
Oh, 100%. Do you know what I used to do actually when I started realising that I was gay? Is I used to make myself watch lesbian porn, because that's what straight men watch. And like I thought that's what straight men watch. So I used to try and make myself watch that, because like that's what straight people do, because I was trying to make myself be straight. So I think that's where, like, when I slept with a girl and I lost my virginity to her, she wasn't my girlfriend as well, actually. I was actually in like a long-term relationship with her, but it was more like friendship, like we're like best friends.
Yeah.
That I felt like I was like, you know, if I have sex with a girl, then I'm straight. Do you know what I mean? And then I started trying to like watch lesbian porn to try and make myself believe that I was straight. And it wasn't until everything went downhill after having sex with the girl, because nothing really worked downstairs. It was kind of like the confirming, like, honey, you don't like it, okay? Let's just not go back there.
It's weird that you've gone through that process of, like, you know, you said trying to make yourself straight. And do you find that was pressure? Because if your mum thought, you know, from a young age, there might be an inkling that you're either wanting to be a girl or not straight, then how it's like, I'm trying to understand the thought process.
Like where it came from.
Yeah,
do you
like
think?
trying to make yourself straight.
I think it did, because I grew up with 3 brothers. I'm one of 4 boys as well, who were all like macho straight men. But everyone in my family has never ever made me feel like I shouldn't. Like they very much encouraged me playing with girl things and wearing dresses and putting on wigs and stuff. And like my brothers thought it was normal. I think it's quite refreshing they grew up with me, actually, because then they've gone into the world with like that headspace. But I think it mainly came from school. Like it came from a very young age, like from primary school, of the teasing of being gay. And people, like, I used to have really like long wispy hair.
The Justin Bieber haircut.
Yes. Yeah. I actually made a TikTok about it recently because my dad put it on his Instagram story and I look awful. But people used to like mistake me for a girl because I was so feminine and I had long hair. Like they used to mistake me for that, and I used to get really offended by it. I don't know why, because I think it's because they were saying it like to try and offend me. And then like it started when I started secondary school, you know, are you gay? Are you gay? Are you gay? And I'm like trying to deal with it myself. And when people are like saying it to you, you know, you just want to prove to them that you're not, because you just want it to stop, because you feel embarrassed and humiliated that they're saying that to you. But yeah, it started from school. That's where that came from.
It's like, I'm quite openly bisexual, and I get asked a lot of the time, like, how do you know? How do you like go through that process of like actually understanding? Because like, you know, like, I mean, heterosexual men can look at other men and go, yeah, you're good looking. Yeah. But how do you know that whether you're like, I appreciate how this person looks, or I actively am into this person? Like
you're sexually attracted. Yeah. I mean, what was the question again?
How I basically... So basically, like, you know, I don't know if you've had the similar kinds of messages, but I get asked all the time from a lot of young women, how do they know they're bisexual and not just appreciating how a woman looks?
I mean, I think it's all about experimenting in that kind of situation. I mean, I'm not saying if like you're a man and you're attracted to another man, like go and actively seek a sexual relationship with a man. But I think like you need to explore your sexuality in terms of like, you know, porn. Like, go and see what stimulates you through there. I mean, I think that's how a lot of people know that they are, what their sexuality is through porn. I mean, we all watch it. We all gone through the phase, you know, when we were a teenager, and people still now, I mean, to the age, like, we all do it. Do you know what I mean? It's normal. But But also having experiences with other people, like I think it's great that people message you and say that. I get that as well, actually. Like people asking how they know, like seek it. Like I think it is all so personal to different people, how they know. And I think it's more accepting than knowing. Like I think you do know. Like I think people, they are confused, but I think they do know deep down. But I think it's more coming to terms with accepting that that's what they're sexually attracted to.
Yeah, because I think sexuality is always a journey.
Yeah, it's such a journey.
But I think, do you ever think maybe, because obviously you said that your home life was very supportive.
Yeah.
Do you feel like if you felt like your school life was more supportive, you would have come out earlier?
Oh, 100%. I say this all the time that I regret not coming out earlier. Because I always say this, like coming out's like bungee jumping, right? Bear with. So,
You know, right?
So you're on this ledge, right?
Okay.
And you're looking down over this ledge and you're thinking, if I jump off this cliff, I'm going to go splat on the floor, dead. That's it. Worst thing that could ever happen, right? But then you actually jump off the cliff and you realize you're attached to this elastic string and you'll bounce straight back up and you're absolutely fine and you want to keep doing it over and over again.
Yeah.
And that's what I say about coming out. It's like once you've done it, you're like, oh my God, that was easy.
Liberating.
Yeah. Like I wish I'd done that sooner.
It's one thing as well. So obviously, like we know which are schools that we both went to. Obviously, you went to a mixed school.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that made it harder or easier to be gay?
I don't know, because I think if I went to a boys' school, an all boys school, I wouldn't have my girls. Do you know what I mean? Like women have been like my allies the whole way through school. Like majority of my friends are women. I do have a lot more male friends now I'm older, but like back then, like women were my go-to, my safe place. They accepted me. I was allowed to be expressive, and you know, I'm very overly feminine and camp. So like it was like, you know, I was kind of just like one of the girls, you know what I mean? But like I think maybe it would have been easier for me to be gay at a mixed school than it would to be at a boys' school. But then I wouldn't know, because I have got friends from the Didcot boys' school that were gay and were openly gay, and they were like, and it was fine.
Yeah, because so obviously, like I went to an all girls.
Yeah.
And a lot of girls I know, like through school, where they were experimenting with bisexuality or whether they were lesbians.
Yeah.
And I felt like, I don't know if it was just because of the girls that were in my school or because it was an all-girls school, it kind of felt a bit more accepted. You obviously get the like whispers in the corridor, like, oh, so-and-so. Oh, yeah. But I felt like it was more accepted than, and like knowing my brother went to the boys, but I was conscious that if my brother decided or like not decided, but wanted to come out as gay, he's not, but would he feel he could do that and be safe doing that?
Yeah.
And I've never experienced a mixed race school. Mixed race? I have experienced a mixed race school. I've never experienced a mixed gender school.
Yeah.
So then I just don't know.
To be honest, it was, I mean, I feel like you're going to get the same kind of experience in terms of, you know, your children at school. And it was the boys that bullied me at school. It wasn't the girls. Like I didn't get anything from girls. I was one of them. I loved it. I did PE with the girls.
That's where the horse riding came in.
Well, you know. But yeah, it was definitely more boys. So like, from my experience, people who have bullied me have been men. So I feel like if I was at an all-boys school, then maybe the bullying would have been worse. But that's only based off like what I've experienced. You know what I mean? Like I said, my friends who are boys, I went to an all-boys school and were openly gay there. They were fine and everyone was accepting, and it was actually not even seen like bad or like, you know, they weren't teased for it at all at that school. So I guess I think it's just different, and it just depends who it is at what school. I don't think it matters.
Do you like, what was bullying like for you?
It was intense, I'm not gonna lie. Like it was really, really intense. I don't think I've like properly spoke about it on my social media. Like I'm quite a jokey person, funny. I make jokes about things. So like on my social media, like I'll make funny jokes about it, you know, like, oh, got bullied, ha, 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 ha. But like it was, like a lot of my trauma comes from bullying, from a school. Like I just told you before that we started filming that I had to get a harassment order against my bully at school. And that was after I got pinned to the floor by two boys and had my face stamped on by them at school. And the school did nothing. It was awful. My school kind of like did not do anything about bullying, but the bullying, it was relentless. It was literally start to finish from day at school. They used to wait outside my house. They used to follow me home. I used to, in the PE changing rooms, used to go in to do pee, to come home, my shoes were full of water in the changing rooms. But I never let them change me at all. Like, I never hid from them. I was never scared of them. I used to give it back, stand up for myself, and I was proud of myself for doing that. And my mum always says this. She goes, "You've never, ever changed for anyone."
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I would always say to people. And I say it to people, like, I go live on TikTok a lot, and I get a lot of queer boys and girls come onto the live and go like, "I'm getting bullied. What do you do?" I say, just ignore it. Ignore them. They want you to give a reaction. And that's something I wish I did more, was ignore them, because I gave them what they wanted. And maybe I taunted them on to come on to me more. But one thing I would always say is just ignore them. Don't give them the reaction and carry on being the bad bitch that you are, and know that that's your worth. And there's one quote that I really love, and it's, don't try to fit in if you're born to stand out.
Yeah,
and
I
feel like gay people, queer people have been born to stand out because it's not seen as normal. And we're breaking those like heteronormative stereotypes, and like we're born to stand out. So just embrace it and like be proud that you're unique.
I think as well, one thing with bullies is obviously, it's when I talk, it's the same with trolling. When I talk about trolling, it's that they're unhappy.
Yeah.
That you're happy.
Yes, 100%.
And the fact that you've accepted your sexuality and who you are as a person has annoyed them, because they've not necessarily accepted parts of themselves they've not dealt with yet.
Yeah.
And obviously that's really hard to think about and remember when you're being physically taunted.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And do you know what's the weird thing about the bullying is that once I came out, it stopped.
Oh, really?
Yeah. How weird's that? I came out in my last year of school, only about for the last 8 months, and literally stopped dead. Like, and I came out by posting a picture of me and my ex-boyfriend at the time, just on Instagram. And that's how I came out to the school.
Isn't that really strange that they don't like the idea of metrosexuality in heterosexual men?
Yeah.
But then they're fine when you're openly gay.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird. And ever since actually I came out, I haven't experienced much homophobia, even online, you know, which I find weird because, like, you know, I've got a platform where, like, I'm seen by hundreds of thousands of people, like, every day. And I'm like, I don't get homophobia. Like, I'll get, like, maybe on a live, I'll get, like, an odd comment. Like, there's probably some 14-year-old, like, just saying some stupid thing. And I'm just like, I just ignore it because I'm just like, do you know what I mean? It doesn't affect me. But I don't get, like, an overwhelmingly... I'm a very openly, like, camp and feminine person. I thought I'd get more, but I don't. And ever since I came out from school, I haven't really experienced it. That's really
nice to hear. But it's also really interesting because I'd love to be able to compare it one day with a lesbian couple.
Yeah, I would too, actually.
Because a lot of the, like, quite homophobic things that I've read about, they're quite horrific stories, obviously. I tend to be geared towards same-sex women, female couples.
Yeah.
Do you ever experience, like, homophobia in the street when you're, like, with your boyfriend?
We have experienced homophobia, yeah. And, like, recently we've actually had, like, an assault happen with Izzy. You know, did you know about this? Yeah.
Yeah.
And where he was homophobically, like, attacking my boyfriend. He didn't actually homophobically attack me, but obviously he knew I was. Do you know what I mean? Like, if he came for Daniel and said he was. But yeah, we have experienced homophobia in the street before. We've had a bit of heckle, especially since moving to London as well. A lot more people here, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, and from all kinds of people. So, like, we do experience a little bit, not a lot, not an overwhelming amount. I'm not scared to walk outside on the street and someone think, oh, he's gay. Like, I'm not scared about that. I think maybe that's because I'm actually really comfortable with it. Like, and I don't ever see my sexuality as a barrier, ever. Like, I forget I'm gay until someone says you're gay. Do you know what I mean?
When you walked in, you're like, I'm gay, by the way. And I was like... Yes.
Hi, I'm gay.
Yeah, that's just how I introduce myself now. No, that's really, I think it's probably really nice for people to hear and see that from you. And I feel like maybe that's why you don't get as much trolling on TikTok, because people that need that, like, you are the person you needed when you were younger.
Yeah. Do you know what? I say this all the time when I'm in meetings with Hannah or whatever, and I always say, like, I am the creator that I wanted when I was younger. Like, I just wanted, like, just someone who was just, like, just so, like, chill about it. Wasn't, like, making me feel like I was watching it and going, oh, like, I'm abnormal, so I need to watch this to make myself feel normal. It was someone going, babe, it's normal. Like, don't even stress about it. Like, you don't even need to deep it. People go, how do I come out? I'm like, you don't need to come out. Do straight people come out? Do straight people go, oh, hi, I'm straight, mum? No, straight people don't come out. So you don't need to come out. If you don't want to, it's your journey. You don't need to say, like, put pressure on yourself to do that because you don't need to do it. Why do you need to do it? Because you need to let society know that you're gay. Like, you don't need to do that.
It's really nice that you've like kind of like solidified that for me, because I wrote an article. I was an agony aunt during Pride Month, and someone said that they were unsure about their sexuality, but how do they tell someone without... So somebody of an opposite gender asked them out and they weren't sure how to tell them they're not really interested in that gender.
Right.
And I was like, but you don't owe that person that justification. You can just say, look, I prefer us as friends.
Yeah. It's literally, I think... especially in this day and age, things are getting very like, not nitpicky, but it's getting very like, to a point where I feel like sometimes where we're trying to make something so normal, by making it so normal, you're making it abnormal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where it should be normal for a gay man or a gay woman or a bisexual or lesbian, you know what I mean? It should be normal for them just to not even have to think about that. And I think when you get into that mindset, I think it's a lot healthier to be in that mindset than to think that you're abnormal and that you have to try and make who you are normal. Do you know what I mean? By going... I have to come out because I'm gay, but you don't. You're a person who just happens to be sexually attracted to the same gender as yourself. Like, it's really not that deep.
Yeah.
And I think people do deep it, and that is because of society. Society have put that on them.
Yeah, I think it's the same, like going on that same subject of being nitpicky. You know, off camera, we briefly had a conversation about the term queer.
Yeah.
And I said the word queer on social media when discussing the LGBTQ plus community, and someone called me homophobic.
Oh, Christ.
And I asked them what they thought the Q meant, and they didn't have a response. But it's like, you know, do you feel like you have to be careful with language because then people start nitpicking at you? I guess if you're openly gay, probably not so much.
I don't ever feel like that with terms of like, in terms of gay things, because... honey, it's my word. I can say it, hun.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I can say it, so you can't come for me. But likewise, if someone was to use that word, if a straight person was to use the word queer, I wouldn't be offended if they were using that word if it was in the right context.
Yeah.
If I was walking along the street and they went, oh, you little queer, I would think, well, you're being homophobic. And now you're using a word that isn't actually homophobic to try and insult me. When really it is, the word queer generally just, it just points out who's in the LGBT. It's a lesbian person, it's a trans person, it's a gay person, it's anyone.
Yeah, exactly. We were like, everyone in the room was briefly like discussing about how people in the community are reclaiming the word queer.
As we should.
It's like when I was talking to Callie about the word sluzzer and about how... you to use the word yourself to stop other people using it as an insult to you.
Yes. And I think that's what we've done. I think that's what we've done. I think there's other words, homophobic words as well, that we use as well, like just to like talk to each other, just because we're taking the piss out of people that like to take the piss out of us.
Yeah, and I think one thing that I found really interesting is I actually didn't know what the A meant in the...
Yeah, did you not?
No.
Ally, ally. What was the other one? It was... asexual, that's one,
See, I thought it was asexual.
Yeah, but
I didn't realise that...
You know how like it's LGBTQIA, it's actually AA?
Okay.
There's actually a lot more letters, and I think there's numbers now in it as well. But there's a lot more numbers after that. That's just abbreviated.
Okay.
So yeah, I was actually saying, and which I hope that I can educate some people who are watching as well, that the A means ally. So if you're a straight person and you're an ally, which means, you know, you are accepting of the LGBTQIA, it means you're part of the LGBTQIA.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's weird because, like, you know, during Pride Month, I got a lot of stick for being like, what about heterosexual people? We don't have a month. And I was like, you also...
Christ the Lord. I hate it when that conversation comes up. Like, what is wrong with you?
I was like, when you have the same hardships
it's a privilege.
as gay people, let me know.
Yeah, it's literally their privilege. You know what I mean? That's such a straight person privilege, that is the thing. Where's my pride? Or honey, were you suppressed? Were you killed? Was it illegal to love who you love? No, it wasn't. And also, pride isn't about just gay people. It's about equality. So if you believe in equality, you're celebrating equality. Do you know what I mean? It's not just about gay, lesbian. It's about genuine equality.
Yeah, because like you see stuff all the time. Like I think somewhere in London that I've walked past, it had lights in a tree that said love is love. It doesn't say gay love is love.
Yeah.
It just says,
love
is love.
And that's it. It's as simple as that, really, isn't it? And I think it's the same thing about, sexism and racism and homophobia and transphobia. It's genuinely, we're all humans.
Yeah.
We're literally all humans, but we're all fighting for human rights, and it doesn't make sense. Like, we're literally all exactly the same. We're humans, we're the same species, but we're all fighting against each other because we look different, or...
Yeah, we don't have the same lifestyle.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, Jesus Christ, it doesn't make sense. I tweeted that, actually. We're all humans fighting for human rights. It doesn't make sense.
We all still need to shit at the end of the day.
Do you know what I mean?
That's a very humbling experience.
We all sleep. Like, do you know what I mean? It happens. We all do the same stuff. So it's just like, I don't understand. Like, I think the world's been made so complicated, and by all these stupid labels.
I'm really appreciating the gun fingers. It's the like, this.
I really want nails, like acrylic nails, so I can do the gun fingers and like put the middle finger up and
I was
stuff.
going to say, like, this is his like chance to prove that he's not Tory.
I'm not Tory.
So I was just like, have you ever played rugby? That was like the first question I went.
I will not play rugby, I'll tell you that for free. So if that can take me off the Tory list, I will not play rugby. As I said, I did PE with the girls. I did netball.
Okay.
Yeah, I was actually on the netball team for school.
Well, I like the first thing that you came for was horse riding.
Yeah, I have had horses my whole life. Yes, I know, but I'm not a Tory. I've literally been sat here like praising gay people here, okay? I am not a Tory.
That's very true.
So
like,
I think I'm off the hook.
It's, I was like, do we really want to go into the whole politics of being gay?
I mean, you can, but I don't know how much I know about politics, if I'm honest. I kind of like, it kind of annoys me. I know you do though, don't you? Did you used to be a private, no?
Private secretary?
Yeah, did you?
Some kind, yeah.
So that was political.
How fucking weird. Like, are you looking at my LinkedIn or something?
No, I just watched you on Love Island, love.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Also, Hannah thinks you're going to be an MP one day, by the way.
Hannah?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought what, did you not watch my interview with Nigel Farage?
No, I didn't. Fake fan, sorry.
I'm like, no. So there was like that. Obviously, there was a lot of conversation about conversion therapy.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And it was banned for gay people, but not for the trans community.
Awful. I think it's just like, if you're going to give it to gay people, why are you not giving it to trans people? Surely, if you're giving it to gay people, it's the same principle as you would give it to a trans person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is the same principle, isn't it?
Because it's like basically telling someone they're not who they say they are.
Yeah, and the same, right, well, we're gay people now, we're going to not try and force you not to be who you are, but trans people, yeah, we'll let that happen. It's the same, it's like you're contradicting yourself in that. I think a lot of politics in terms of those things contradict themselves a lot, and it really annoys me. I was really shocked about the conversion therapy thing. I saw that and I was really unaware that it was still going on.
So was I, actually.
Like, until recently, I was very, very surprised. I mean, it's only been legal to get married, like, recently as well as a gay person.
When was that?
Like,
I don't remember.
Is it like 10 years ago now or something?
Yeah, it's not very long.
No, literally like in my lifetime and yours.
It's weird because, like, when we say love is love, the whole purpose of marriage is that you're, monogamous to one person for the rest of your life. And that shouldn't matter what the genitalia of the person it has.
Yeah.
As to whether you make that commitment or not.
No, and the thing is that that's another thing that factors in with like homophobia is religion as well. A lot of like homophobia does come from religion. And personally, for me, I respect every religion there is there. I don't mind what you believe in. I don't mind what, you do that that you believe in, basically. But homophobia is homophobia. I don't care what religion, what race, what gender. If you're homophobic, you're homophobic. And, you know, I think that a lot of gay people are religious as well. And I think they find that very difficult to deal with in religion. But I think a lot of it does come from that. I mean, I was actually christened as a Christian and I went to a Church of England school and whatever. Never was I taught that gay people are wrong. Never ever heard that either. So I'm not a Christian though, at all. But I did go to church and stuff and I never saw that and stuff. So like, I feel like sometimes it's used as a bit as an excuse.
Yeah.
If I'm honest.
I mean, that is interesting because I've never, like, I have religious family and I've never, like, it's never really crossed my mind.
No.
Because, you know, what you do in your spare time doesn't impact my life. So why should I make it my problem? I
actually was at London Pride this year and I made a video that went really viral on TikTok because this man was walking around with a sign, like a big man-side sign, like wrapped around his neck, saying, Jesus is coming, you're all going to hell. And he was going around with a big microphone. So I got my phone in my pink crop top. And I went in front of him and I went, bring it, baby. And I just thought, do you know what?
Oh, I've seen that TikTok.
And I was like, bring it, honey. Like, come on. Jesus is coming. Like, where is he? Like, where is he? Is he come for us? Because
the queer community don't like cold anyway.
Do you know what I mean? So it's things like that where it's just like, come on. And I think that they're actually letting themselves down a bit because I feel like that, like I said, I've never actually experienced a Christian or actually any homophobia from a religious person. But I know it's out there because I know it's taught not to be like that. And there's arguments on the internet and whatever. But I've never experienced that. And I think they're letting themselves down in that sense where it's just like, you know, you're believing what you believe in. I'm respecting that. Respect us as well. And now you're letting yourself down because you don't have a leg to stand on now because you're being a bad person now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely.
So like you don't have a leg to stand on in terms of, you know, I'm saying I respect you and your religion and you can do your religion. It's the same principle as you respecting me and who I want to love. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. I think as well, when earlier, we're going to swiftly move topics, but, you know, earlier you were naming some gay icons on the internet that have like kind of paved the way for men to be able to freely express themselves through makeup and stuff like that. You are Mark Hill's first male ambassador.
I know.
How did that come about?
I don't really know, if I'm honest. I literally just got a message from a manager and it was like, so do you want to work with Mark Hill? And I was like, Mark Hill? Like, what am I gonna do with Mark Hill, if I'm honest? But I think I'm liking that I'm paving a bit of like a path in like the male influencer community because I think it is kind of harder for like male influencers to get a bit of work. Yeah. You know, because it's more like fashion and makeup and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Obviously like Mark Hill's a hair brand and stuff. And when Hannah told me that I was the first man to work with them, I was like, oh, what am I doing that's like different to like everyone else? You know what I mean? But I think being the first man and like being the first man on like HLD as well and like being the first man on the podcast, I'm giving men a good name here, aren't I? Really, I'm repping them. I'm showing you it's we're not all bad. I did get
asked if I was going to have male guests on the podcast, and if I wasn't, then am I not being any better than people who are misogynistic?
Got you. Well, I think that having me on the podcast is kind of the same principle as why you started the podcast in terms of, you know, you started it because you felt like women had a bit of an inequality against the world, and same with gay people and trans people and lesbian people. So I think it's fitting, my love. I think it's fitting. It's got the same principle.
You really gave me like old grandma vibes when you...
I've got the new vocabulary of my love. I keep saying it. I don't know where it's come from, but
I'm just looking at you being like, if you're from London, then how has he got that? It's definitely not from where we're from.
I don't know where I've got it from. Yeah, maybe Kane and the Iron. Yeah, two other TikTokers.
I was going to say, I don't know who they are.
No, I'm really hot, by the way. Are you not hot right now?
No, because I've not been drinking.
Drinking?
Like Asian glow.
What do you mean, alcohol?
Yeah.
You've not been drinking alcohol? I've been drinking alcohol.
I know, I'm saying I'm not hot because I get Asian glow.
Oh, right. Well, lucky you. I'm just getting dewy mess.
That's all right. You'll look fine on the podcast, don't worry.
I hope so.
When you were talking about how now you are trying to like pave the way for male influencers in this industry, how did it actually like come about?
So basically, I actually posted a video about slagging off my mum.
It's a good place to start.
Well, you know, it was a coping mechanism, really.
Sorry, mum.
Soz mum. It was, and I posted a video about my mum and it blew up. I think got like 500k. And it's a lot of views. I'm not saying it's not a lot of views, but
it is a lot of views.
It got about 500k, and that was my first video that I posted. And I've always been like the funny guy, do you know what I mean? Like everyone's always laughed at me, and like I've always been told I'm funny. And like my auntie and my cousin Lucy and Imi, I've got a lot of my humour from them. Like they're hilarious, and a lot came from there. So like after I did that, my mum's like a complete lunatic. Like she's actually balmy. My family is like balmy, right? Like it's like we should be the Kardashians. Like we should have a show because it's just like ridiculous. So I thought I can just start making videos about my family, and it was just doing really well. And like I would just make videos about the arguments that we would have, or like, and I think people found it very relatable. It was all in lockdown. So like everyone was kind of like had nothing to do, and I think they all found it relatable, and they all spoke to them. I actually gained quite a large like middle-aged women following as well from it.
Oh, interesting.
Like mothers themselves, and I still do. Like I get like mothers come up to me on the street, but oh hello, I love you, and I'm like, oh, didn't realise you're my demographic. But yeah, so I started doing that, and then I moved out. I was still living in Wantage at that point. I moved out with my friend, and I wasn't living with my mum anymore, so I lost content. And then my account actually got deleted, like completely permanently banned, and I had to restart a whole thing. I was like, I hit 200k at that point, and I've been doing it for like a year. This was like in 2020, and yeah, my whole TikTok account got deleted, and I thought that was it. I was like, well, there's my career gone. I wasn't earning any money off it at that time, though. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't monetized. It wasn't really a career path for me. I was kind of just doing it. Like, I was just like, because I got views and like the attention kind of thing. So then I started...
You really liked attention, though.
So then I started a new TikTok, and I kind of just went to film anything I wanted. I didn't have any structure, any niche, nothing. And then... built on it. And then I started like self-managing myself. And, you know, HLD was my first ever management. And I've been doing it for 2.5 years, coming on 3. So I've been managing all my emails, like all my like brand deals, all everything like that for the last 1.5 years before I signed to HLD. And I was doing all of that, and then, which was so hard. Like, I had a full-time job. I was a nursery teacher.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in one time I was a nursery teacher, which I actually really loved. I loved doing that, especially with like the boys who wanted to wear dresses. I was like, yes, put the dress on. Put it on, let me paint your nails. But yeah, I did that a lot with them. And then, so yeah, I was managing all my own emails, and like I was doing all the business side of that. And like, you know, I'm a business. So like my TikTok account is a business in itself, and I'm like running it, my business, which is me. So I was like kind of running that. I had a full-time job, I had to film, I had to do this brand deal, I had to like negotiate. And we all know what brands are like, and we can all say that they're sometimes a pain to work with. No, you're not. I love you. Please pay me. And then when I met my boyfriend, we were going to move in Shoreditch into our friend's flat with her. And I thought, you know, if I want this to be my career, and like people started noticing me in the street at this point, I thought, I can make this a career. And I was starting to earn some money on it. I was like, I can make this actually like my full-time job. And I had people like GK and Izzy, and I had friends in the industry that were doing it then as a full-time job. I was literally like probably the last one of the TikTok like group to be like, it's my job now. Like it's only been since this year that it's been like my full-time job. So then I took the plunge and moved to London, and been broke. I was broke. I was working this job, working that job. Then I had a really bad mental health spiral at the start of the year. So I ended up like not working, and I was just like figuring myself out. And then I got signed to HLD, which would pick me up. And I would love to do TV, like not like reality TV. I would love to do like presenting, like Alan Carr vibes, you know what I mean? Like Graham Norton. have my own TV show, like
I
a
could
little
see
chat
that.
show, like having a chat show. Do you know what I mean? Like having like celebs on, because you know when like celebrities go on like an actress will go on to like a chat show and they'll be like, so how's the film? Like what's filming like? I'm like, I want to ask the questions like, I don't know, like who did you shag on set? Like,
Yeah, they're not safe for work.
do you know what I mean? I want the tea. It could be called What's the Tea? You know, it's a chat show might be happening. But yeah, that's what I want to do. So then been working very closely with our management and they're putting me on the path to like wanting to do more interviewing. And we've been doing interviewing on the streets. I actually had a really funny one where we went out and we filmed asking straight people gay slang, seeing if they could guess it. It was so much fun. Wasn't it fun? It was so much fun. I loved it so much. I've done a few more as well, but like it was so much like getting into it. I was like, what's the top? What's the bottom? And they were like,
Surely those two are self-explanatory.
some of them didn't know. Some of them didn't know. I was like, what's Grindr? Tell me. What is Grindr? And then they were like, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I love putting them on the spot, making them feel a bit uncomfortable.
That's why you want to be an interviewer.
Yeah, I do. I want to ask the questions around there. Like,
It's weird that it's not weird, but like I couldn't picture you as a nursery teacher.
really?
So I was going to ask you like what you did before or what you would be doing if TikTok never existed.
I probably would still be working at the nursery, I'm not going to lie. I actually had no idea what I wanted to do before TikTok. But yeah, the nursery, I actually really loved it. It was like, you know, I got paid to play with Play-Doh all day. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was so much fun. It was so much fun. And they were like your little best friends and they like adored you. It was so cute. And I was so gutted to leave. I actually got politely asked to leave.
Do I want to know why?
I just... lockdown lifted,
Right.
and the alcoholic in me came out, and I was just.
Oh, okay.
But also, TikTok was starting to blow up at this time. I was coming to London. You know, I had events in London. I had things to do in London. I was hanging out with some cool people, and like it was all new to me, and like I'd never really like gone out in London and stuff, and I kind of just fucked it off. I kind of just fucked it off, and I was just like, so sorry. And they were like. At the end, I was kind of missing days of work. It was so bad. And they just knew I was out. And they knew about my TikTok and they knew it was blowing up and stuff. And yeah, it came and she was like, Jack, I think you need to hand in your resignation if you want a reference from us. And I was like, oh. I was like, okay, well, I was going to do it anyway. So, and I literally, no joke, this is actually so iconic of me, actually, if I do say so myself. I literally quit my job that day and packed my shit and left that day to London. Literally packed my shit and just moved straight to London. And I literally, on the way on the train, and I got emailing loads of different jobs to get, and I got 5 job interviews before I got to London.
Blimey. You work quick. But do you feel like maybe that gave you a kick up the bum to like actually pursue what you wanted to pursue?
Yeah. I feel like, you know, you watch like things like Lady Gaga moved to like LA with $6 in her bank account. And like now, you know, she's like this worldwide famous person. I was like, I've got to go through the struggle. If I want my dreams to come true, like I don't want my career just to stop at TikTok. I don't want to be like an influencer for the rest of my life. I want to use it as a tool to become like a bloody superstar. Fucking take over the world. Do you know what I mean?
Wear meat dresses on the red carpet.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
It's like, obviously, well, I don't know how comfortable you're going to feel talking about it, but, you know, earlier when you were talking about when you moved to London and you had like that bit of a mental health struggle when you were trying to like, you know, manage your dream, but also be grown up and deal with like responsibilities and stuff.
It was hard. It was a lot hard. Luckily, I had an amazing boyfriend that helped me, and it was a very new relationship. We moved in together after 2 months of being together. It was really quick. My
commitment issues say no.
Well, in the gay world, we've been together, just over a year now. That is like 10 years. You've got a dog and a cat. So we're like solid now, like in the gay world. Like it doesn't happen. But no, yeah, I've always actually struggled with my mental health. I'm quite open about it on my social media as well. I think it's really good to like just to take it and people to say they can relate and feel like they're, you know, not going through it on their own. But like I struggle a lot with anxiety. I've got a lot of past trauma from my childhood that like I went through a lot of stuff in my teenage years, like with my stepdads and stuff, which I'm now, as an adult, reflecting on it and realising where those triggers are coming from. And like, You know, I have gone to therapy here and there, nothing crazy though. Like, and Daniel, my boyfriend, has literally been my therapist because I've literally been the most mentally strong ever. Like, I'm standing on my own 2 feet. Like, I can like rationalize a lot better now. But like before, when I was going through that, it was the worst time, like mentally, I've ever felt. Like, I didn't want to be here anymore, and I've never felt like that ever. Like, it was a scary thought to me, and I was scaring myself. Like, I wasn't going to do anything stupid, but like, I was scaring myself because I was thinking I'd just be better off. I just couldn't be like, if I don't wake up tomorrow, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it was finally that I was in a place where I felt like I could heal. And like, I just moved in with my boyfriend and his parents, and it wasn't a toxic environment, and I wasn't surrounded by, you know, where I grew up and all the bad memories and stuff like that. And I think I was in a place where I could finally just like breathe and like be fine and be like not worry. And like, I think it was like a snowball, like it was just all coming out the woodworks. Like, I've had to always suppress it and just get on with it, but now like I was in an environment where I could just be like, do you know what I mean? So it was just all coming out. It was a lot. It was all coming out. Like, I was crying over nothing. I couldn't hold a job down. I was having mental breakdowns 5 times a day. I was slept all day. I didn't get out of bed. I didn't shower. It was awful.
I was going to say it sounds like me on my period, but not all of it. But I can imagine it's really hard. And obviously knowing what the area was like that you grew up in and how it is a small town, everyone knows everything about you. And I feel like I did the same as you and moved to a city.
Yeah.
The ability to start fresh when no one knows anything about you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't feel like you have to pretend to be something you're not.
Yeah.
To get validation from other people.
100%. That's something I've so learned, is that like giving myself my own validation and not seeking it from others. I think I've done that my whole life. And I think that has gone down to me being gay and being bullied. And, you know, as I said, I had an abusive childhood with my stepdads and stuff, which obviously reflection on that was a lot to deal with as an adult and reflect back on. And my social media don't even know about that, actually. And I've only just mentioned on here, exclusive. But yeah.
That's a trauma response right there.
That is actually a trauma response. Being funny is a trauma response. But yeah, no, I went through a lot of abusive behaviour with my stepdads, 2 of them actually, growing up. And there was a massive divorce and it was so messy. And me and my mum didn't get on. And me and her had a very volatile relationship. We're really good now because I don't live with her. But no, we're really good now. We've worked a lot together, so we're really good now. And I finally feel like I'm in a place where I'm like, my career is going really well. I've gotten a really good boyfriend, like a long-time relationship. I've got a great relationship with my mum. Like it was, I feel like I'm living in London, which I've always wanted to do. I feel like, you know, people from where I'm from, Wantage and from Dick, I'm sure that you feel the same. I feel like they look at us and I feel like, yeah, I've made it. Do you know what I mean? I'm doing it. Like, and I always felt like a big fish in a small pond. And I felt like I've actually done myself proud by getting out of that small pond and going for my dreams, which I think a lot of people are like scared to do.
It is. I think when it's like that whole small town mentality.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's really difficult to like leave the comfort of what you've always 100%. Known. I completely relate to everything you've just said about feeling like a big fish in a small pond. Yeah. So obviously for you, I'm going to tweak the final question. Mm-hmm. So obviously based on everything you've said, what would you say to people that question your future or current success or who you are as a person, either in your past or in the future, based on your sexuality?
I would say that sexuality is not a barrier for anything. I would say that I feel like you would be very small-minded to think that way. And I think it's quite sad for you. That's like a you problem, that you would think like that your mind is so narrow, and that I think if you opened up your mind a bit more, that you would realise that you could get a lot more from life.
I agree. What would you say to your bully?
I would say, fuck you. Fuck you, mate. Look at me. No, I would say, hope you're well. Hope you figured out what was going on in your brain. Mwah.
Sounds like a really weird Facebook message.
Live a long, happy, good life. Love you, hon.
Amazing. No, honestly, thank you so much for being a guest on my podcast. First man for everything.
It is. And it was my first ever podcast. I've never done a podcast before.
Scary. Well, you smashed it.
Thank you very much.
And normally people get scared when they're on my podcast, so...
Well, I felt very comfortable. You're a good host.
Oh, thanks. Throw you in at the deep end. But yeah, no, thank you so much for being a guest. And
thank you.
I can't wait to see what we get up to.
Thank you.